Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is Nosa of Nosa Capital, and we're just going to be looking at some of the key cryptocurrencies that catch everybody's interest. And so very quickly, let's look at Bitcoin. Well, sorry, we've got the Bitcoin ZAR, so let me just talk about that. ZAR, for those of you that don't know, that's the South African Rand. And currently, that is one Bitcoin to 1,802,338 South African Rands. As you can see, this is still in the daily, heading back for an all-time high. Let's get a bit more of a macro look at the weekly. Just very quickly, you can see it's going to have to try and break through the 1,816,000. So it's going to be about 1,817,000. That would be at about the 100,000 mark, I think. But let me not over guess because I've not really calculated it. So let's switch over to the United States dollar against BTC. Here we've got, okay, let's look at the daily. Let's set that chart very quickly. As you can see, so excuse all the lines. These are all the Fibonacci lines based on the weekly. I think it'd be a bit clearer if we look at the weekly. Let's switch over to that. Let's reset the chart. There we go. So 100,000 is somewhere up here. So if it breaks through this area here, this is an area of supply, which means people have been taking profits. People are selling. So the area of supply is roughly 95.6 to about 99, almost 100,000. But once it breaks through that, I think the next port of call is going to be about 101, and then maybe going to 106. But how rapidly, I am not quite sure. As we can see here, this is a cup and handle formation, so we can do something about that. I don't know whether you've seen this before, but let's have a quick look at a very crude way of looking. So let's just get this rectangle. Let's see. So this is about the lowest point somewhere here, so we can draw a rectangle all the way down to this point there. Okay, so we've got it. So now what we do, and let's try and see if we can squeeze that in so we can see it, and then we bring it, a rectangle, and we just put it here. And that gives us roughly there. So if we click on that, we're looking at about, the journey wouldn't really end at about 122,000, so approximately 122,230, something like that. That's what we're looking at. Now, most people, as you well know, they're talking about 120,000, 120,000, 120,000. But this is one of the simplest ways you can do that, to figure out. Just look at your cup, take that distance, measure that, and then take that distance, put it on top of where it starts here, and then it can give you an idea. So we're looking at about 122,000, which is what you see here. So that's Bitcoin. Let's go to Ethereum. Again on the weekly. But first, let's have a quick look at the daily. I did a quick analysis on Binance. Let me just show you very quickly. I think I've mentioned it before, but let's just So that's what I'm looking at. That's what I did today, about 9 hours ago. Ethereum, is it different this time? That's the title. I like my blog pieces to be very short. So as you can see, it's just a quick read. Most of my analysis was centered around the Ichimoku chart. Of course, you can become a follower, or if you're on Binance, and leave your comments. I'll be very happy to read them. So that's that. Anyway, there's a link in the description, so you can actually go there. And looking at Ichimoku, this is what I was looking at. And as you can see, now, for those of you who have followed me in the past or have been to some of my way back, I'm talking about a few years ago, I was a pure Ichimoku man. Now I've moved on, but I still use Ichimoku to describe certain things for certain people, because people still ask me this kind of questions. You look at the Chiku span running free, true and free, of Tenkan-sen above the Kijun-sen. All of these indicators above the cloud. The cloud is also at a slanting position, which means this is definitely bullish. Again, if you look at the present candle, it's not too far from the Tenkan-sen and Kijun-sen, which means it is not in an oversold position. So, and as you've seen earlier in the video when I showed you about taking that rectangle and measuring with Bitcoin, I believe we can do something similar with Ethereum. Let's go to the weekly. And let's now hide our Ichimoku. And that's our all-time high here at 4,869. So we're talking about 4,900. This is a very crude cup and handle, extremely crude. I can't call this one an effective, cup and handle, but if we were to play that game, where would we take? It's too crude. I thought it was going to have a nice, had this been all down here, then I would have taken the formation. So no, this here, we're going to be looking at, 4869. Once it breaks that, who knows? Maybe we hit the 5,000 mark. I'm not quite sure. It should breeze through, because if you look at the structure of the volume profile here, when you see volume profiles that look like this, then it's easy for the price action to breeze right through. Next port of call will be this area of, that's about 4667 or so. That would be at the area of supply. And when you see something like this, areas of supply, and people are taking profits. So don't be surprised that even here, I'm sure some people are taking profits. I can actually tell you that I sold some Ethereum today at about roughly $100 less than the current price. Lifestyle chips, as someone, I can't remember who said that, but it's lifestyle chips. Oh yes, James of Reverse Answers calls it lifestyle chips. And so yes, I did use it for something. Okay, let's look at Solana. Let's start with the daily. So the daily looks like, not bad at all. Let's just throw on the Ichimoku, since we talked about Ichimoku. Let's have a look. And as you can see, the Tenkan-sen and Kijun-sen tangled with the price. Tenkan-sen is still above the Kijun-sen. Although the Chiku span is running free, it's pointing downwards. But I think that's because the Solana price has been kind of weird, not really going anywhere for a while, goes up and then comes down, goes up, and it's been like that for weeks now. Let's have a quick glance at the weekly. And let's shut the Ichimoku off. Now this also has a sort of cup and handle, as you can see. So we can give it the same treatment. So if we draw, let's do this. roughly from there, and then let's draw a rectangle from there. Let's just bring it down. This is very crude. And then we can then that. Again, very crude, not exactly efficient, but it gives us some idea. The idea. So we're looking at about $503. That will also depend. Now we've hit our all-time high, remember? So if we go back there, we could go up. Now, as you noticed, if you have noticed, let's bring this down. You may have noticed, let's do that. Let's close that for a minute. Look at the volume profile there. It means that the price actually could zoom. If it breaks the all-time high, it could as well zoom up to about $500. That would be interesting to see if it hits it or not. But remember, this is just something crude. We're just doing a very crude way of looking at these prices. So no real serious analysis. We're just looking at certain points. So don't take this as a serious analysis or as a financial advice to buy. But if based on the current price at about 232, and if we're trying to read about 503, then some people might think of buying. But remember, this is just crude, and it's just some rough and ready analysis. So please don't take this as a serious financial advice or anything like that, but only saying, just saying. Okay, so let's just have a quick look at SUI. SUI's got this W type thing going here. All-time high was about $4.08. We are now about to hit an area of supply at between 390 and the all-time high of 408. So that's going to be interesting to see if SUI has enough momentum to break through. That's on the weekly. Let's have a quick look at the daily. And on the daily, yeah, we have an area, that area of supply, which is at 376 to about 394. So we might just have a quick, again, this is an area of supply. People have been selling at this area. Who knows? But if it breaks through, roughly, I'm not quite sure where it will go, but I'm sure we could easily, if I look at this, we might find ourselves hitting about $5, but we'll see. I really don't want to speculate. Again, this is not financial advice, but let's not speculate too much. And finally, with let's go to the daily on that one. Look, some of you who follow me on Twitter, you will see that I always put out some prices almost daily. I don't think I put out a price today, but I will resume doing that tomorrow. So our Twitter is at Nosa Capital. That's also on Twitter. Let's have a quick. Let's just throw the Ichimoku on and see what WIF it does with WIF. WIF, this is definitely positive. It's a bit slightly weak. It's weakly bullish, and I think that's because it's trading sideways. You've got the Chico span running free, although pointing downwards. The Kijun-sen is above the Tenkan-sen. That could be a bit of a problem, but not something to worry too much about. Price action is well out of the cloud. So, and as you can see, this is just trading sideways. So we shall see what happens over time. I think this is just temporary. With all-time high at $4.80. We are currently at $3.22. We might find ourselves, it might be that WIF is just gathering some kind of momentum to go back to the all-time high. We shall see. Let's look at the weekly. Yeah. Let's get rid of the Ichimoku. And as you can see at the all-time high, that rough area here is an area of supply. So we shall see. we shall see. We shall see. First port of call is here. We need to break, which is $3.65. If we break that, next port of call roughly about 407, and maybe all the way to the top, because as you can see, the volume profile, it's not very strong at the moment. So when you see volume profiles like this, particularly when it breaks this area here, it's going to have almost a free reign to go back up to the top. But we shall see. We don't know. Nobody knows, but we shall see. And those are the coins I want to talk about. I mean, look, if there's any other coin you wanted to look at, okay, let's look at this one before I go, just very quickly. Binance. Again, if you go to my Square account on Binance, I have written several pieces on Binance in the past. And as you can see on the daily, this just looks like it's just trading sideways non-stop. Look at that. That's just a sideways drive. Binance has also broken its all-time high. Let's just throw the Ichimoku on, just have a quick look. Again, as you can see, Tenkan-sen and Kijun-sen here. Chico span running free. They're all above the cloud. The cloud is at an angle, so this is definitely bullish. On the daily, have a quick look at the weekly. Same thing. Chico span here running free. Tenkan-sen above the Kijun-sen. Price action not far away from either. That means it's not overbought. Cloud at a certain angle, so this is definitely all bullish. Let's hide that. And I think all that sideways action that you saw is coming from about March. You can see just sideways here. And then you have the odd pop out, price pop out, and then it's sideways, and then it happens again. So it won't surprise me, knowing how crypto operates, that this will break the all-time high once more and move further. But we shall see. I think maybe get to 800. We will see. Roughly where it gets. And as I'm talking to you right now, we can see Bitcoin has now hit 99,166. Oh, 99,205 now. So that's going to be interesting to see if it breaks 100,000 tonight. I'm not quite sure. Maybe I'll make another video if it breaks it. But I don't want this to turn into a... Let's go back to the daily. Let's go back to the daily. Or should we leave it there? Let's go back to the daily. Let's get rid of this. Okay, here we go. So it's going to be interesting to see if it breaks through to 100,000. 99,225. Who knows? Maybe it's our lucky night to break 100,000. I still don't want to sit at my desk and wait for, try and do a watch party. I tried it once. I don't want to do it again. Except I'm quite sure it's going to happen. Ethereum itself, look at this price. We're looking at 4,000 around the corner. Who knows? If Bitcoin breaks 100,000, we might get a 4,000 Ethereum. We shall see. As for Solana, maybe we get a 240, 250 Solana. Who knows? We'll see. Anyway, just to conclude, ladies and gentlemen, I thought I was going to make this a very short one. It's gone on longer than I thought it would. So, anyway, as always, keep your eyes and ears open and your trading sharp. Have a good one and good night.